From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, some players are leaving, some coaches are coming aboard. But it sounds and feels like they're going to run it back. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. warchantbogo promo code. Buy one, get one free. One bottle, not even 2 ounces, 7 hours of energy, plus vitamins and nutrients. You get 12 in a box. If you order just one, you're going to get 24 because you buy one, you get one free. That's how it works. Stocking stuffer season's here, everybody. Throw them in there. See how everybody around you becomes that much more cool to hang around with, that much more tolerable because they're in a better mood. They got the energy, the vitamins and nutrients. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. $1 for a week. Access across the On3 network to read everything. Can't reply to the boards. But you get that year access to The Athletic as well, and obviously all the awesome things going on over at warchant.com. And I say awesome things, maybe it's not, doesn't feel too awesome right now, but you guys get it. Come join. It'll be worth it. I assure you of it. Corey Clark in the house as well, everybody. This is what gets him out of the bed every single morning, everybody. Doing this show for you folks. Not writing, but doing this show for you. I know it. I know deep down in my plums I can feel it. What's up, Corey Clark?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm all right, man. Just watching all these other programs fire their coaches, hire coaches, just must be nice. Must be nice to be these other programs.
I don't know, man. Yes, there's 80 programs you would trade right now with, sadly, for the last 2 seasons you've had. Maybe 100. I don't know collectively if there's 2 teams that have had worse, 2 Power 4 teams that have had worse seasons back-to-back. Maybe Purdue and Oklahoma State and Florida State. It's abysmal. But I don't know, man. Like Michigan right now, they just had they got to scramble.
Yeah.
They'll find someone,
yeah.
Sure. It's Michigan. They'll figure it out. But that's maybe not ideal. Maybe not. At least it's embarrassing at the least that you had to fire a head coach for an inappropriate relationship with someone on staff.
What does that even mean? Are they
no idea
adults? Just what if someone's a subordinate to you? Like that's totally off limits. I just don't.
Probably, we have no idea about the information. I would never speculate on who it was, what role they had.
I'll do it.
It wasn't a crime.
No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't a crime necessarily, but it's probably in their contract that you can't do that.
Yeah.
And,
Moral turpitude.
And also, let me say this.
Sorry.
If Michigan was in the playoffs right now.
Right.
And Sharon Moore had proven to be one of the better coaches in the country, you let it slide. But he hadn't. Yeah. And I do think that. Maybe that's too cynical of me.
No,
but come on.
I agree.
But he isn't Jim Harbaugh. That team isn't all that great compared to what he took over. And it's a pretty good – if you're not sure on a guy, it's a pretty good excuse to be like, okay, we're just cutting ties completely. And a very inexpensive way to cut ties, unlike, here.
Right. Yeah, I would go get Brian Greasy, but this isn't Wake Up Wolverines. It's Wake Up Warchant, as we said, presented by Vitamin Energy. Listen to headlines the other day, Corey. A lot of national talk, a lot of big picture stuff.
Yeah.
You did a good job at one point of bringing it back to Florida State. I appreciated that because that's what everybody wants to know about. So
right.
I guess let's start off with the coaching hire news. So there is a report out there, and we're recording this maybe a little bit earlier than we should because maybe it becomes official, but apparently Florida State kind of has their eye on a running back coach candidate, Cam Martin. He actually played for Gus Malzahn at Auburn. He's currently at Tulsa. He was at UCF for a year. I think he was there with Gus, but then the other UCF coach that's now not only on the radar, but apparently in the fold. I shouldn't say they haven't made an official announcement, but everybody in the industry, Pete Thamel, Pete Nakos, right?
When does Florida State ever make official announcements?
It's not doing it. Which I do wonder if I wonder if the Nick Williams hire was like a John Papuchis farewell, but I digress. So Brandon Harris, part of the Harris family, Ice Harris, the patriarch, longtime successful Miami high school football coach. Tim Harris, the brother of Brandon, the receivers coach for Florida State. So Florida State, seemingly, they swapped out Patrick Surtain for Brandon Harris. So I was saying this with Ira on the video, Corey. I feel like at worst, it's probably a wash with Patrick Surtain. I feel like Harris has some youthful exuberance, good recruiter. I don't think he's got the pedigree and the bona fides of a guy like Patrick Surtain, but don't hate the hire. I just don't know how much of an impact it possibly could make. But my concern, Corey, hearing these two names, guys that obviously have ties to Gus Malzahn largely, like I get that we need to make this Norvell proof moving forward, but it just feels like Gus and now maybe to a certain degree, Tony White with the dismissal of Patrick Surtain, like they're the ones that are consolidating power. And maybe anything is better than Mike Norvell at this point, but I don't know if I trust this kind of feel that I'm getting from what they're doing right now in terms of the moves.
So let's talk about, before we get into Harris, talk about the running backs coach, because I think that's much more interesting in my mind anyway. The fact that they're making a run at, where is he now, at Tulsa?
Correct, Tulsa.
What's his name?
Cam Martin.
Cam Martin, he's associate head coach, and he's the running back coach at Tulsa. The previous 2 years at UCF, where he coached for Gus Malzahn. Now, you just had a running backs coach leave to go to Arkansas. Again, not official because, again, we don't make official hirings and firings around here. And now you're looking at a guy that Gus and Herb Hand worked with closely in 23 and 24, right? At least those 2 years. Where was he before UCF? Do you know?
Cam Martin?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
Incarnate Word in 2022. Then he was at UCF in 23 and 24.
Oh, a little Cam Ward action then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got to see that up close.
Eric Morris.
So, so clearly, why else would this guy be on Mike Norvell's radar? The Tulsa running backs coach. Why would he be on Florida State's radar at all, if not for Gus Malzahn? Now, Gus Malzahn had him. He worked with Gus Malzahn and Herb Hand for 2 years. They had good offenses those years. Not a good team at 24, but a good offense. And then in 2023, they had a good team too, and they had the kid that's now with the Broncos that ran for, I don't know.
R.J. Harvey?
Yeah, he probably ran for 3,000 yards those 2 years.
Yeah.
So now you're interested in him. Okay, well, isn't that, to me anyway, and I could be completely wrong, and by the time people are listening to this, it could be obsolete. But to me, that would tell me that Gus Malzahn is putting together his own staff.
Hooray.
He wants his own guys. Yeah. And he is not leaving.
Yeah.
Because if he was leaving, why are you going to get one of his – why are you interested in – you haven't gotten him yet, and I think there's other schools that are interested in him too. But why are you interested in a guy from Tulsa? And before that was an Incarnate Word in UCF. Not exactly the best. You let David Johnson walk for, okay, we get it, man. Like, if you want your own guys, you want your own guys. And I think that, to me, is what this looks like, which, again, is not something that's going to excite Florida State fans. But to me, that just rings like, why would that even be on anybody's radar if Gus wasn't coming back or perhaps coming back? Do you know what I mean? Doesn't that make sense?
They do need a running backs coach regardless, right? And maybe Gus gave him a endorsement reference like, hey, like Mike, if you need somebody to replace David Johnson, use him.
That's a possibility, but don't you think the probability is Gus wanted his own guy?
Well, why didn't they bring him with him last year? I guess
I don't
Mike
know.
was too loyal to David Johnson. Like I'm not letting go David to.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think
which great. So then now it's like, okay, now I'm going to give up on that. Like it's just there's little conviction, there's little belief. Yes. That's where all the dwindling belief comes from.
None of it's great. None of it looks great. I would think when you hire Gus, the day, whenever that was, early December, and you're trying to put together a recruiting class, trying to figure out what the rest of your staff is going to be, and David Johnson's been with you for a while. You're like, no, I'm not. You're coming, and you can bring your O-line coach, but my running back coach is staying.
And receivers coach.
And my receivers coach, yeah. So, you made a lot of, you made a lot of concessions, if they're even called that. You made a lot of firings, but no, my running back coach / recruiting coordinator is staying. Now, if it doesn't work out in 2025, we can revisit this conversation after the season. So to me, that's what it looks like to me. Is Gus wanted to bring in his own guys. Mike said you can bring in a couple, but you're not bringing in a running backs coach because I have a relationship with David Johnson. I like what he's done. Whether that was smart or not.
Yeah, he's my
guy. He's my guy. That's what it seems like to me, man. Like, what you're getting a guy that, again, incarnate word, UCF for 2 years in Tulsa. That is not the resume of even David Johnson when he came here with Norvell. Like, that's not the resume of a blue blood running backs coach, unless he works really well with the guys that are already here. And Gus wants some consistency and some guys that he's used to. And maybe it just didn't work with David Johnson. It clearly didn't. I mean, I shouldn't say clearly. I mean, they did. I mean, they ran the ball, I guess. They were one of the top 20 teams in the country in rushing offense. But the running back rotation was, I don't know, man. It made less sense than a Ouija board. It was no rhyme or reason to it. They couldn't conjure up any feature back, Aslan. How about that? There aren't many podcasters that say Ouija board because they can't think of anything else, and then come up with conjuring a sentence later.
This
is as good as it gets, folks. This is the best.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. I know that probably doesn't fill people with a lot of great joy, and it could be completely wrong. It could be a completely wrong read on my part. But that's what the first thing I thought when they're looking at the former UCF running backs coach is, okay, Gus wants his own guy, which means Gus is here for at least another year. And if he's not, what's the holdup, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's today, Aslan? December what? 12th? 11th? Yeah. If he's not coming back, where's the announcement? Yeah. Like, what are you waiting on? Crap or get off the pot?
They owe this fan base as well as an affirmation as well. They gave Mike Norvell an affirmation, right? I know it's a little bit different, but we intend on bringing him back next year. They need to also come out and say, listen, maybe it's obvious to a lot of people that Tony White's saying. I agree with that. I don't have that much of a problem with it either. Come out and say it. I mean, I know they're under contract, but I don't know what is. Maybe this is unprecedented, but this is unprecedented at this university to be this down on things for this long. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with them affirming that, you don't have to do an official press release. Go on another podcast, man. Reach out to somebody at ESPN nationally, do a sit-down interview or whatever, and then
reach out to Warchant.
Or that too, and then tell them, we're going to keep them. So,
well, that's because, again, Norvell was asked about it last week and said we're not commenting on that. And it's like, well, man, if he was coming, just say they're coming. Like, show some conviction that you believe in what you have. Like, I know fans don't want to hear that right now because nobody believes in anything. But do you believe in these guys or not? Because it seems like you just let Tony White fire a cornerbacks coach that was pretty popular and had done a decent job, at least on the field, for somebody that, who is he? Who's the guy he's bringing in? I mean, he's the wide receiver coach's brother.
Top 35 under 35 from Afka, second-round pick. NFL, but also
Miami Hurricane. You know what I mean. But no history with Florida State is what I'm saying.
It was a GA year one.
Oh, that's right.
Year zero.
Norvell's first year.
Sorry, year zero. Yeah.
The COVID. That's right. And look, man, he played in the NFL for 6 years. And he is Tim Harris's brother. I think he did. He was a co-DC at Florida Atlantic for like a year and a half, I think.
Correct. Look at you.
He's had a history. But
It's not a bad hire. It's not a bad
hire.
No,
well, who would know if it's a good or bad hire? But it's interesting that that's a guy, like, obviously, clearly, Tony White wanted to change. He wanted to bring in a guy somebody else.
Yep.
So you let him. In my opinion, you let him, which is fine. You let him. It's his defense. Well, now it seems like you're doing that on offense, too, which, again, is fine. But then they're staying. There should be no more speculation. That if you're making hires or making potential hires and interviews on guys that your coordinators want, that it seems like it's all engines go to run it back with these two guys.
I mean, that's what we kind of have to explore, I think, right there. I mean, you said it, Corey, that we were anticipating these structural fundamental changes, and it feels like this is going to be largely around the edges, right? Positional coaches, which – I mean, I don't know. Again, they have to be fully committed to this we were so close thing. And not just the coaching staff, but the administration. Like, he was so close. And we know what he looks like when he has a really good roster. We're going to give him a really good roster. I don't know how that's going to happen, if they're going to be able to do in the portal with the GM. But, yeah, I mean, this largely feels like you're going to run it back, and maybe even with the quarterback, and that's another discussion probably too, Corey. 5-7 isn't the worst starting point, but it doesn't feel like a starting point to run it back and become a national championship contending team. I know that's probably taking a step too far in your opinion, Corey, but man, these have been a rough 2 seasons, man. It's been a really rough 2 seasons. Playoff appearance would be great, but it'd also be great to know that you show up to the playoff and you have a legitimate chance of winning it. I don't know if this is the way to do that.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Again, I think Tony White is a championship caliber defensive coordinator. I might be completely wrong on that, but I just like what that guy's about. I think he is a positive. He is a net positive for this program. And I think you need more Tony Whites in this program, frankly. I do think he holds guys accountable. He also challenges them. He also builds them up. And I think they do get real confidence from him. Does that make sense? Like, I do think that Jabril Rawls, when he heard, man, you're an NFL cornerback, you should be a day 1 draft pick. I think that filled Jabril Rawls with some confidence that he didn't have before. Same thing with Earl Little. Like, it was not false confidence. It was real confidence. When he said the Desir brothers were good and they're going to play, he wasn't lying. He wasn't blowing smoke. They can play, and they're good. And they both might be NFL players. Who knows? So I just like what that guy's about. In Malzahn, look, if they come back, I think when you say around the edges, look, I wasn't expecting an upheaval on the coaching staff. I think we all thought, at least I thought, when they said structural changes, they're talking about front office personnel and bringing in people. And Derek Ray's name is out there too. We should talk about that as well. A lot to talk about here on a Thursday. But I think they were talking about overhauling the front office and the way they evaluate and decide on personnel and rosters. And
but come on, you didn't think that both coordinators are going to be retained.
Well, no, but it wasn't because of, this is going to sound weird, but it's the truth. It wasn't because of the on-field performance of either coordinator. The reason I thought Gus was leaving is just because he wouldn't confirm that he was staying, and he didn't seem all that happy. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I thought he gave up or his offense was horrible. Yeah. It was on the road there for 4 games.
And I think you guys on headlines weren't painting a picture. And listen, when I was on the sideline in Gainesville, I saw it firsthand. You guys really weren't painting a picture of this like great harmony body language wise. What you saw on the sideline between, Mike is 20 yards in front of Gus and just like almost 1,000-yard stare. Gus is like irritable. He's on the headset talking to somebody. It didn't seem like a really high-performing, high-functioning relationship. And I was like, well, we try. We're probably going to move on. That's like, and I'm not trying to put too many words in your guys' mouth, but like that's the way I kind of interpret it. And what I saw in that field, it's like, all right, that's fine. They can move on and bring somebody else in. And it's like, well, they're gonna keep this thing intact like that. That just
it wouldn't seem, but it wasn't like you watched this offense and when I know Jeff hates it, but it wasn't like you, and they certainly could be better, but it's not like you watched this offense at 25. It's like, well, this is atrocious. This is an embarrassment. I mean, it was a competent offense that had some really good games, all of them at home, except for one in Virginia, and put up a lot of yards and a lot of first downs, and on the road, not many points. But I was thinking about this because, look, man, no matter what happens, and we'll talk about Tom, if Gus comes back or not, they're going to need a quarterback. And my biggest complaint or my biggest worry with Gus, if he stays, is how do you convince a quarterback, like a legit one, a big-time one, to come play in this offense? And then I was thinking, and I think I heard Jeff and Tom mention this on the radio a couple days ago too, like, well, they were talking about how would you bring in a big-time receiver if Deuce leaves in the portal if you were running this offense still. And what you would show them, if you showed them the all-22, and I hate to take shots at the quarterback.
Show Deuce's tape. I mean, if you want to replace Deuce.
Well, that too. Yeah. But maybe the kid isn't 6'6" and making all these crazy catches. But all the misses. Yeah. Like, they're going to look at Squirrel White's production and be like, why in the world would I come to that? But then, Danzy and McCoy, Danzy the first half of the season, McCoy the last month of the season, proved that they were capable receivers. And how many yards were left out there because of just poor throws? Yeah. Like, how many? And if you show a quarterback, like a quarterback that's worried about throwing lanes in this offense or making big plays in the middle of the field, because there weren't a lot of big plays in the middle of the field, and that's where good quarterbacks live, and that's where they want to attack. But if you showed them the all-22 and was like, look, man, he's wide open right there, and he sailed it 10 feet over his head, or he's wide open right there, and he doesn't throw it on time or doesn't even see it. But you, Joe Johnson, you see this. You see how this offense works, and you see how wide open that is, and you would star in this offense because you would put it between his numbers on time when he's open in the middle of the field. And instead of scrambling around and then having to throw it away or run for 3 yards, that's a 50-yard dime piece in the middle of the field because of your golden right arm. Like, you could still sell it to a potential quarterback by just showing the all 22s into a receiver too, potentially. The plays that were there, the potential big plays that were just missed because you didn't have a very accurate or, competent throwing quarterback, I should say, a competent passer. Good quarterback. He does some things now. Now he adds some things to the offense too. I don't want to take that away. The reason they were top 20 in rushing, a lot of that was your quarterback, who was your leading rusher. Don't want to lose sight of that either. But you're not trying to go and get you need something better at that position, a lot better, really. And if Gus is here, I worry that you can convince a Mensa or a C.J. Bailey or someone of that ilk to come play in this offense. In fact, I don't think you could, but I could be wrong.
During this offseason, Corey, can we, and this is really quick, and then we got to start talking about corner pucks, so this may be a little bit funny, but can we just do like one show a week during the offseason where we'll still talk about Florida State when there's things going on, but we can do like a little bit of our national takes? I love this sport, and I'm looking at my feed on Twitter as sometimes I got two screens here at the Atlantic offices. Somebody didn't like me calling it the Atlantic offices. They say Jacksonville's the first coast. I think that's a cheesy name, so I'm not calling it that. All right. Okay. But they've already got a graphic for the hot board for Michigan, and it's got Kalen DeBoer, Lincoln Riley, and Brian Kelly on it. Again, not ideal if you're a Michigan fan, but if you just got out of work and you opened your phone on Wednesday evening and you looked at your social media and you saw that your head coach got fired, and it's like Kalen DeBoer, Lincoln Riley, and Brian Kelly are probably some guys they're going to go after. You're like, all right, man, I don't feel that bad right now.
Let's see who they end up. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see who they end up with. I would think Brian Kelly. I don't know, man. Do you want to hitch your wagon to that? I don't know. Yeah. That's interesting, man. That's going to be, and what an interesting time too. Yeah. The timing of all that is just so. Fascinating. Going to be fascinating what they do in Ann Arbor, but we don't care about those guys. We don't care about the Big Ten. So I think, if they want to run it back, fine. I mean, it's not, because again, I don't.
What do you mean fine?
Well, because I'm more worried about who's bringing in the players than I am who's calling the plays. Gus's offense is fine. It's not great. It's fine. It's productive.
He brought in a better quarterback, 11, man. He brought in a whole new 11.
Get it up. Well, right, but
it wasn't dictated to him. He picked Tommy. The offensive line was good. I'm not going to really quibble with that. Yep. Listen, Deuce was obviously really good.
Randy Pittman can play. Yeah. He was hurt.
But running back, which is your thing, it's your bread and butter. How could you not figure that part out? That
was a big mystery.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, man. If you look at the offense as a whole, the offense was fine, better than fine. If you just want to go strictly by numbers, the road games were a disaster. But overall, 12-game season, the offense was much better than I thought it would be this time a year ago. So I'll at least say that. The question you have with Gus is, he can take you from a dumpster fire to just a working dumpster. But maybe you don't want a dumpster.
I don't.
Yeah, and I don't even – he put out the fire. He did. That's a better analogy. He came in here and put out a fire. Last year's 2024's offense, again, worst offense in the history of the program, in my opinion, and almost statistically the worst offense in the country besides Kent State. He came in and made it more than respectable. Great. What's the ceiling?
Yep.
Because I don't think the ceiling is all. It can't be as high with him, in my personal opinion, because I just don't think he's ever had a legitimate passing game. That's not what his offense is about. When he was at UCF winning a bunch of games, it was with a quarterback that ain't in the NFL right now. He could run like the wind, but he wasn't in the NFL. At Auburn, same thing. He got to a national championship game with a quarterback who was a DB at Georgia. Great athlete. Also missed a wide-open touchdown in that first half of championship game.
Appreciate you.
That was that overthrow was pretty big.
I feel like there was 2 or 3 plays that they left on the grass in the first half, Auburn, where you're just like, where are these busts coming from? We haven't seen this all season long.
Yeah, man, because Gus's offense can be tricky.
Yeah.
And that was a great defense and a good defensive coordinator. Gus's offense is tricky now. Now, that was also 13 years ago. People are more used to something like that. But overall, you can't appreciate and would admit, considering what he took over, and there was it was all on him, and bringing in 11 guys, and half those linemen weren't available in the spring. I think that was an admirable job, all things considered. Offense being gross at times. Now, the problem is, again, but everything, it wasn't an embarrassment. They got, 350, 400 yards every game, probably led the ACC in first downs, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I think the offense, if that's the starting off point, that's a good starting off point. The problem is, well, you're going to have a whole new offensive line. You might have to go get a new number one receiver, and you absolutely have to get a quarterback. And that to me is more important than keeping Gus Malzahn. If Gus Malzahn can somehow magically bring in the best quarterback available, then let's do it. That's all I could. But if he's going to limit your options because of his offense, I think that's a mistake. Personally, I could be wrong, but I think that's a mistake. I think you're fishing in a completely different lake if Gus Malzahn is your quarterback. Or sorry, if Gus Malzahn is your offensive coordinator. The pond you're fishing in, or the lake, or the stream. Whatever water, a tributary, whatever water you want to deal with Gus being your OC, I think that limits who you can bring in. But your offense will be competent. It will have some great games, no matter who the quarterback is, right? We believe in that, but it lowers that ceiling to me.
The ceiling is the roof when it comes to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Come on out tonight, bingo night. $250 up for grab, not once, not twice, not three, but 4 different times during bingo night over at the CP, the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. It's also your official destination for bowl season. There's going to be games on TV here soon. Go get a delicious bite to eat.
You can gamble on them. That's the only reason to watch pretty much any of them.
Read a lot of discourse the other day, Corey, about how the younger generation's kind of out on sports betting, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's really good to know.
Yeah, but
that's because I have a younger generation son that I hope doesn't do this because he's number one, he's not good at it. Everything he tells me to bet, it never happens. So anyway,
all right, I'm going to blame that on Dad. Teach him better, Corey.
Yeah,
Teach him better.
You're right.
Corey schooled me. He schooled all of us. Told us to go to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. We've all been satisfied. Do it yourself, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. You said it twice, but I'm going to have you say it 3 times, Corey, like candy, man, yo. They need a new quarterback, but the reporting that we had from Ira earlier in the week was that, listen, we had we found out that Tommy appealed, right? For a 6th year or whatever. It was denied. Yep. He does intend on filling out a waiver, right? To an appeal, or rather, I should say.
Right.
And the sources that have spoke to Ira indicate that he has every intention of finishing at Florida State and returning to the program if he gets that 6th year. I can't even say 6th year. There we go. Again, I feel like we didn't get a lot of direct quotes and things from Mike Norvell, but I felt like, at least in Norvellese, I felt we got a turning the page kind of feel or vibe from Mike's comments. I don't know if you felt that strongly about it, or just, if they're going to run it back.
No.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So just because he's applying to get that waiver doesn't mean he's going to get it. I don't know how often those things are upheld. I would guess the vast majority of them are upheld, but that's just me guessing.
And the NCAA, that is the one thing that the NCAA is fighting back on very vehemently, is like these kids trying to get 6th, 7th years.
Except for that Miami tight end who got to play for a decade. That's great for him. What a story. But I think, when Ira tweeted that, people are not very fired up about that notion, or about that The fact that could that possibility was not something that fired people out. But I would say, look, man, Norvell said it on Friday. They can't wait around. I think that's a direct quote. If it's not, it was something like that. Like, they can't wait around to see if he gets eligible. They have to take care of that position. So and it's not like wouldn't think if it's the NCAA. I mean, we didn't find out about Darrell Jackson until like August 20th. So if it's the NCAA, it's going to take a while. They can't wait to see what happens to go figure out what they can't, cross their fingers and hope. I hope Tommy gets that. Oh, he didn't. Now what? There's only one portal window. They don't have one in the spring. So this is it. So, and I don't think his case will be solved by then. And even if it is, sure, he can come back, but by God, he better have some real competition. And so anyway, I would think they're absolutely still planning on going to the portal. I don't think that news means much of anything to me right now because, number one, I'm not expecting that it gets overturned and he does get that extra year because the NCAA doesn't do things like that. They don't do things that make sense a lot of the time. In fairness, it would make sense for Tommy to get that year because people that do what he did now get that year back. So anyway, but no, they're not. There just is no world in which, when I say run it back, I'm not talking about the quarterback. I do think, if you put, I don't know, man. I would name. You could name, and I appreciate Tommy's toughness. Let me put it out there. He showed up every game. The only time he didn't play was when he literally got knocked out at Stanford. But you put a better quarterback in this offense just this year. And I don't know, man. I think you're looking at 3 extra wins. Probably. Nothing great. You're not in the playoffs.
I don't know if they beat Alabama without him.
You're right, but I think they beat Stanford. Maybe Pitt. Certainly I think they beat NC State. So, I definitely think those are wins. And also, I thought he was terrible against Miami. It probably wouldn't have mattered who your QB was against Miami, but he was terrible until the fourth quarter where he was the best player on earth, but when they were down by 25 points. So, in Clemson, too. No, Clemson was the drops, right?
Staff,
one of those games was the drops.
Clemson was, Randy Pittman on the fourth down.
And there were a couple other ones that were just awful. So, yeah, man, I just think that if you look at this offense with a better quarterback, I think that, again, I think it limits who you can get. You're not going to go get a Mendoza type or a Carson Beck type or a Mensa type, but you go get, let's say, the kid from ODU, Colton Joseph, who ran for 900 yards this past year, and he finished his runs, by the way. I did watch his highlights because, weirdly, it showed up on my algorithm on YouTube, and I was interested. Had 2 60-plus yard touchdown runs against Indiana, by the way.
Ooh, take that. All right.
First play of the season.
Nice.
He had an 80-yard touchdown run.
All right.
And he also ended the game with a 60-yard touchdown run, and then in the middle threw 3 interceptions and for less than 100 yards.
The Tommy Castellanos experience, it sounds like.
Right, but I give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there. That's the best defense in the country he was going up against, and he's at Old Dominion. But he put it on Virginia Tech too. I mean, he played well and had some big runs against high level athletes, at least, or Division I competition, FBS Power 4 competition. Anyway, so you get somebody like that if he's better than Tommy, the war goes up, man. The expected wins go up. They just don't get you to national championship caliber, and that's what my concern is if Gus stays. I keep saying the same thing, but I think you bump your head on the ceiling a little bit because you're going to have some bad games. They're going to do some stuff to take away your mobile quarterback, and do you have any answers for it besides a bunch of trick plays? And can it travel? I don't know. I mean, Gus has had offenses that have scored a bunch of points away from his home stadium, but for this year, for whatever, it didn't travel. I wonder how much of that is him, and I wonder how much of that is the quarterback. But I just can't fathom Castellanos coming back for another year and just being penciled in as the starter. There's no way. There's no way. It's gonna be hard enough to just bring in the coordinators back. Even though, again, they both were upgrades from what we all witnessed in 2024. Again, who wouldn't have been an upgrade? I get that argument too, but you can't run it back with the quarterback. Go get yourself a guy that can play, man, and play at an elite level. Please.
Yeah. Now they had 35 in the first road game of the year and then went 13, 10, 11, 21.
Yep.
So
one touchdown in each until the final one. And again,
not
Stanford and NC State had average to horrible defenses.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do anything with it. You got a bunch of first downs because that's what you do. But nothing past that.
You asked Mike about it on last Friday, and his answer was, and listen, this is the YouTube transcript, so this isn't me picking on Mike or anything. It's just me reading what's in front of me here, Corey. In regards to Tommy and the quarterback position, actually, that's you that said that. And where is it here? I had it right in front of me. Here we go. I finally found it. We're going to move forward, for what we believe is best for, the competitive aspect of our quarterback position. Excited about the guys that we have. I think, they've all shown flashes and moments.
Yeah.
That sounds like, man, we're going to move forward.
What was the first thing he said? We're moving forward?
So we're going to move forward. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously with Tommy's situation, it's got to be unique to itself. So we're going to move forward. So I don't know. This is a very unique situation into itself. So, I don't know, man. I think they could certainly do worse in the portal. I think they could do worse than Tommy. I don't know. Maybe Tommy stays healthy and you get everything you had out of him. But I do still think Tommy I think his presence helped out your running game. I think from week 1 all the way till the final game of the season. So if you do lose that aspect, maybe some things aren't as easy as they were with him around. But, again, throwing the football down the field becomes a little bit easier, which is a very important part of this entire.
Yeah, and so that's again, I don't want to take away from the impact he did have, especially when he was healthy. That is a dynamic that is hard to defend. And he ran for a bunch of first downs this year, and he kept drives alive with his legs, and that can't be overlooked. It's just that the big plays in the passing game, if they weren't to zero the second half of the season, they weren't coming. And when they did come, they were always at home. Deuce was like the only guy, LeWayne McCoy there at the end, is the only guy that made any plays on the road, really. And that just has to get better. But, yeah, you're right. If you look at it as a starting point with this staff, you saw some stuff that was like, okay, that's certainly better. But again, I on the offensive side of the ball, and we talking too much about it because we might hear later tonight that Gus is leaving. I'm kind of over the waiting. Like announce it, or maybe, if there's no announcement, we got to assume he's staying. Because what if you were leaving? What's the wait? What's the holdup?
Listen, I get it. I'm with you. When I heard of structural, fundamental changes, I thought of roster construction, staffing, overall, the way you want your front office to look like. But I think coaches have to fall into that Venn diagram somewhere as well. And I don't think a running backs coach, a defensive ends coach, and a cornerbacks coach is going to deliver the difference you need in terms of coaching guys up and evaluating players.
Well, I think most people would be like, well, it's the guy at the top anyway.
Yeah, but
it doesn't. All you're doing is shifting chairs on the Titanic until you fire the head coach.
We talked about the whole package deal thing. If you brought an OC with his quarterback, that changes everything. Overnight. So you're going to keep the OC. You might even keep the quarterback.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. And maybe you keep the quarterback too. And then it's like, well, then what has really changed here? Like, we really believe, again, like they really believe in their heart of hearts they were that close. They were that close to being in Charlotte. It's crazy for me to think that's where we're at, but we are.
I think if you're like, look, you don't think that Gus should be fired, right? Like what he did in 2025 wasn't fireable. I don't think. And I don't think you do either. Like, you'd like something better, but it wasn't fireable. They again, considering what he was working with, which again, because of the program he came into and the guy at the top had zero proven talent on the entire side of the ball. Like, zero. No proven guys could block. No proven dudes that could run. Not one. Literally, not one.
Yeah.
So he came into an offense that had to be completely overhauled because it had nothing he could count on, nothing he even knew about. So they went and got guys in the portal that could block. They went and got a quarterback that could run. They went and got a legitimate number one wide receiver. They developed, I think, Danzy and at least McCoy, and I think Boggs.
That too. We can't. I mean,
but what I was going to say is,
but we got to stop talking about Boggs like he is a difference maker, maybe. But I mean, no.
I would say though, here's what I'd say about that, because you're right. He didn't prove anything. He didn't get to do anything. He was hurt, but he didn't. Yeah. But the way they talked about him, I trust their eyes. These coaches' eyes more than I trusted, let's say, the last coordinator's eyes and the head coach's eyes ever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the way that the players and the even Tony White talked about Boggs. That's what gives me hope that guy is legit, because of the way these eyes see him, not Norvell's eyes, not Alex Atkins' eyes, but Gus Malzahn, Harris's eyes, and all the players' eyes. That gives me hope that he's something. But even if he's not, Danzy and McCoy are, I think, if McCoy can stay healthy. Yeah. And so he went and got a number one receiver. He developed some guys. Pittman's a good dude. I don't understand the running back room. I don't. But I tell you this, Singleton was better this past year than he ever had been. He looked like a legitimate Division I running back, which was cool to see. So there was some development. And let's hope they can develop some linemen. But, yeah, it sucks because – I just think, man, I think that the coaching was fine enough for what you were coming off of. It's not fine enough for Florida State. But I don't think the combination of Gus Malzahn and Tony White is an embarrassment. I don't think it's an embarrassment they're coming back. I think they earned their paychecks considering what they had to take over. And as you move forward, you just wonder, especially on the offense, but what's the ceiling of both? But, no, I don't think they were close to a playoff. I think they think they were close to like an 8-win season, which coming off 2 wins is pretty darn. That's something they're Hey, Reese Davis will tell you.
Cignetti scoffs at that.
Well, yeah, man, Cignetti's. But you're talking about Vince Lombardi, man. Don't compare anybody to that guy. Come on. Maybe he'll go to Michigan.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I think that when you look at what this coaching staff is. With the limitations they had as far as who was on the roster when they got here, they did okay. Like Reese Davis will tell you, they had a top 30 team overall. So Alabama's loss to Florida State wasn't that bad because if you look at the metrics, Florida State was a top 30 in the FPI. It's like, okay, Reese, whatever argument you have to make to prop up Alabama. But, again, the record was embarrassing. The last game, the way they tried to tackle that monster in the backfield for Florida was horrific and embarrassing. But overall, throughout the season, while the season was embarrassing because it was another losing season, it wasn't an embarrassing product. They had embarrassing moments, but they did take a step up. And now if you do bring in a general manager that knows what he's doing, you do have some coordination between that front office and the people that provide the money. You get clarification on how much money you have to work with, because it ain't going to be just the revenue share. So you got to go above and beyond, and we already know they were over $20 million this past year on the roster. If you get a lot of money again to use, and you have somebody that can use it well, which, again, you hope it's not just the head coach making all these decisions, then you can, you have a competent coaching staff, I think. You have competent leaders on both sides of the ball. Maybe not national championship caliber, I don't know, but competent. You've got to go get, better players. And the main reason I would want another coordinator besides Gus is from what you were saying 10 minutes ago, because that guy might bring in a quarterback. Literally, I know, guys. I'm sorry. We'll know who the quarterback is soon enough. But by God, you need a quarterback. That is priority after you name your general manager. If Florida State even makes announcements anymore, the only announcement they've made in the last 3 weeks is that your failing head coach is coming back for another year. Please give these guys some good news. Anybody over there at Moore, make an announcement of any kind. Give them some news of any kind. But yeah, that is priority number one after you figure out who the guy is calling the shots. If it's not Norvell, which you hope it isn't, man, that's why I wanted a new coordinator more than anything. Is I thought somebody could bring in. Like, again, the marriage of Kerwin Bell's kid and Heinschel at Pitt. Yeah. I would love that combo coming here. Love it. But, if Gus is here, that ain't happening.
Let's get back on the winning track. Underdog Fantasy Sports, NFL football season nearing its completion, but then that means the playoffs are here, everybody. So let's get excited about that. Thursday night, my boys from the 813 taking on Corey's boys from the 404.
I'm going to be at the game.
Okay. All right.
I'm leaving this morning to go with our friend Spencer, who again shout out to him for being in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Flew out the day of, early morning flight to Kansas City from Tampa. Yeah. Watched that game in 35-degree weather, and then flew back at 4:30 in the morning.
He's the dude.
Unbelievable. I can't imagine he had to be the only single male. And he's not single. He's married with grandkids at this point. But I'm saying he was there by himself. He flew out there by himself to watch that.
Yeah.
Brian Pinsky should let him coach the team for a day or at least watch practice for a week or sit in on some film.
Yeah.
I mean, good grief. Brian, make it happen. By the way, we should get him on the
we'll
the
try.
air. But sorry, I interrupted you. But yeah, we'll be at the game with Spencer and his family.
All right. Probably no Friday show then, everybody, because Corey's going to go have fun.
Yeah, watch the Falcons lose.
Bijan Robinson, 74.5 rushing yards, 37.5 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions. Man, there's 21 other options. Longest reception, longest rush.
Let's go over.
Let's do the. You want first quarter rush yards, you sicko?
No. I want higher receiving yards.
Higher receiving yards, 37.5.
Yep. Kirk Cousins loves to check down, baby.
That's right. What do we got here? You want Baker Mayfield for the Tampa side of this thing?
Sure.
220.5 on the passing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns, 19.5 rushing yards, 4.5 rushing attempts.
Oh, definitely higher on the rushing yards.
Okay, there we go.
He's going to will them to win. He hasn't been doing that well lately, by the way. He's not played well lately, but he gets to play the Falcons now, so I assume he's going to have a back-breaking first down run in the fourth quarter.
Okay, and then Kyle Pitts, 5.5 receptions, 59.5 receiving yards, 7.5 targets.
There's not one for drops.
There's a lot. There's fumbles.
Half.
There's one for fumbles though. It's a big multiplier.
Let's do that.
It's a huge multiplier. That's 10.5 just by itself.
Yeah, he's going to have a fumble in this game, I think.
This has now become a 63-1 payout,
Let's
everybody.
Go, baby.
63-1 payout. You can do the flex option, and it drops down to 31.68, that's crazy. It must be you can't get the Kyle Pitts one. That can't be your mulligan. But anyhow, try it out for yourselves, everybody. Underdog Fantasy Sports. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog, make picks. Win money.
Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
I haven't started playing Christmas music at the start of the show. That's going to change soon. You haven't started your Christmas shopping. Let's change that soon. But we don't have to go out into the brick and mortar, the retail, the parking lots, the madness. We can do stuff from home. Ridge. The Ridge wallet. I know I said I might get bidets for the boys for bachelor party groomsmen gifts. I think I might be going Ridge wallet because I keep remembering every single day when I reach out in my pocket and I grab my Ridge wallet. I'm like, this thing looks so cool. Feels great. Holds all my cards securely. Got the cash strap. Feels nice. I like this kind of stuff. Ridge wallets come with a lifetime warranty. That's right. Lifetime. This could be the last wallet you'll ever buy. Maybe you'll buy another one because you're like, I want a leather wallet. I miss having a leather wallet. You'll go back to the Ridge wallet. Front pocket check. No worries about sitting on it. You don't want to do that. 100,000 5-star reviews. 99-day risk-free trial. Give it a try for 99 days. If you don't like it, send it back. They'll give you your money back. For a limited time, Ridge is having their huge holiday sale. Head to ridge.com, RIDGE.com, to get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've been giving out all year long. That's ridge.com for up to 47% off your order during the biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they might ask you where you heard about them. Tell them Wake Up Warchant, please. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Corey, you're talking about throwing money at a quarterback. Hopefully somebody out there has got money. I don't know how many people out there have more money than Troy Aikman, but not a lot. I think he's probably like, I don't know, top 5% person, maybe top 10%. He was a guest on the Richard Deitch podcast, and this bit went viral. He was talking about the sport has created a bad culture, bad mentality for teams. Here's his quote. Where I'm at is I think there's got to be some leadership at the very top that kind of cleans all of this up, starting with players that accept money. There's got to be some accountability and responsibility on their behalf to have to stick with a program. I gave money to a kid. I won't mention who. It was Dante Moore, we all think, by the way, Corey. Now the quarterback at Oregon. I've done it one time at UCLA. Never met the young man. He was there a year. He left after the year. I wrote a sizable check. He went to another school. I didn't even so much as get a thank you note. It's one of those deals to where I'm done with NIL. I mean, I want to see UCLA be successful, but I'm done with it. Just wonder how many money people feel that bit of angst. Also, speaking of responsibility, accountability, apparently Georgia's suing a player that left them to go to Missouri, and they're seeking pretty much all the money that he received before he left. So lots of crazy stuff going on nationally as well. We're starting to see what collective bargaining is perhaps building some momentum, but I don't want to talk about that aspect of things. But just, I mean, it's one thing to keep throwing money at things. And I get it, man. It's no one wanted to pay the check to make Mike Norvell leave, but it's going to have to be tough to try to get people to give him the money to win, you know?
Yeah, yes. Again, I get all that. I get you feel like you're probably burning your money to give it to that guy, but you might get, who knows? It felt great in 23 for those people that gave money. The problem is the price of doing business has gone way up since 2023. But, I mean, that did feel good. And with the Troy Aikman thing, it's like I didn't know you could specify it for one player. Oh, yeah. I thought you just gave to a collective.
Yeah, but I'm sure they came to him like, hey, like.
Yeah, but do you think if it is Dante Moore, let's just say, do you think he ever knew, hey, you're Troy Aikman just ponied up?
I'm sure. Like, hey, man, to make this happen, like we went and got an NFL Hall of Famer. Like, he believes in you.
I don't know that you're supposed to be having these kids send thank you notes.
I know.
This is price of doing. But I get Aikman's point. Yeah. So, yes, I think eventually, as I said for a while now, these colleges will realize eventually, hopefully very soon, so we can get some real guardrails here, that there will be – they're going to have to, I just lost my train of thought. They have to collectively bargain. They're going to have to collectively bargain with and these contracts are going to have to be multi-year contracts, and that's just going to be the way of the world. And we'll go from there. But until then, yeah, man, I think Florida State still has a lot of benefactors and people that care enough about the program. Maybe if they don't even believe in Gus, but they believe in Deuce, or they believe in Cromall, or they believe in Earl Little, or they believe in the Desir twins. They still have enough people that believe in those guys that they'll pony up to keep them. Maybe. I don't know. I hope, because it's fun when Florida State is good. It makes everything a lot easier. And they're going to need money. They're going to need a lot of it, which is, again, it's ridiculous that you guys have to do this. It's ridiculous that the weight of the roster falls on the fans. But that's the way this sport has crumbled here in the last 5 years. So, yeah, if you want to have a good football team, you have to pay for it. You, personally. Not your season tickets aren't good enough. Your subscriptions aren't good enough. You also have to go pay for a linebacker. Yeah. But that's or you have to go pay for a head coach to go away because your administration made a terrible mistake. But it's all on y'all. Y'all foot the bill for everything. Like, shouldn't Alford have to give some money up? Shouldn't No, I'm just saying. Like, shouldn't he be like, if they were getting rid of Norvell, shouldn't he have to pony up? Peter Collins, all these guys. Don't just put it on the fans. You pony up some of your cash too. And I'm sure Peter Collins has given gobs of money to this university over the years. So yeah, man, it's kind of a sad place, and where we're at. Not sad. It's just the new reality, I guess, because it is like.
I will say this. I'm sorry, you give a kid $1 million and he leaves after a year?
Well, you've got these contracts. It doesn't. So we all remember the Amarius Mims.
Yeah, Georgia.
But the Amarius Mims thing, they should sue him.
Yeah.
It's a contract, dude. You're an adult. This is real world life, man. You're dealing with real money. You don't in these schools, because I know the behind the scenes stuff with Amarius Mims. Florida State thought they might look bad if they went and sued or challenged something he actually signed in the court of law. No way, man. It's a 20-year-old kid. It's a professional contract. Sorry, man. This is the real world. Don't sign your name on a document if you're just going to bounce. But, that happens. That happens, I guess. It shouldn't happen anymore. It used to be, they're going to pick on this kid. They're going to let this come on, man. Can't you be this poor kid? He's 19 and he wants to transfer. You're not going to just let him go? Heck no. You signed a contract. And that's why these things need to be multiple-year contracts, and they need to have a lot of language in them where you get paid back if you leave. You pay back the money if you leave. And the new school that you're going to has to foot the bill, something like that. And I know there is going to be some language in there, they hope anyway, but who knows how realistic that is right now that's happening. But, yeah, man, and then we could talk a little bit about, before we go, Florida State has had 4 guys enter the portal.
Oh, no. We didn't talk about that. What about Derek Ray? You want to talk about him first? And then.
Well, Derek Ray is rumored to be one of the candidates to go to UCLA, right, to be the GM?
I really like Bob Chesney, man. I don't even know what to think. I mean, I've never thought that Derek Ray was hand-picking the roster and being like, Mike, this is what you get. Like, there's no world in which I believe that the tie went to Derek Ray. Like they both would text it all for like, hey, yep. I want this. Well, Mike, he's a GM. He gets it. So that's a bit of a stunner to me that a guy that seems to be a pretty good coach is identifying Derek Ray to come possibly be his GM. But yeah, it's definitely worth talking about. Did we even talk about Edwin Joseph? Did I mention him?
No. Or Jaylin Lucas.
I mean, good gosh. This is why I need to write things down. But yeah, so on Wednesday, the trickle started building up a little bit in terms of the transfer portal for Florida. So they've had several players leave before then. But on Wednesday, Jamori Flagg, Willie Suarez, Christian Smoke White, but then Jaylin Lucas and Edwin Joseph through back channels let On3 know they plan on entering the transfer portal. It has not opened up yet. January 2nd, it opens up. So they are technically not in it yet, but they announced their intentions of joining. Dude, Edwin Joseph, I said this on the video I did with Ira Corey, that he was preseason number 25 on the Warchant top 40. Yeah. I did not put him on my top 40 because I was like, he never spoke to us during the spring. I don't think they like him. That was a bad theory, but he's leaving, and that's a blow, man. It's not a catastrophic blow by any stretch. I think the only thing that's close to that would be Deuce. But man, I think any team would want an Edwin Joseph on it. They'd find a place to put him. They'd find a role for him. Not saying he would be a starter, but he would definitely be in the rotation, I think, of any team that's still playing football right now. So that's a bummer. Yeah.
It's not like it's not nothing. I think he was second on the team in interceptions, maybe third behind Little and Jerry Wilson. But yeah, he played a lot. He made some big plays. He made some memorably not great plays. But yeah, it's not a net positive that he left.
Correct.
All the other ones, I mean, maybe Ty Coleman ends up being something. Maybe Flagg ends up being something. But I mean, you're not losing a lot of sleep. But these are the kind of guys that transfer. Yep. Guys that are third or fourth string didn't look like are freshmen that aren't happy and don't think they're going to get a chance to play, or they're going to get portaled over because they're not good enough. All that is a possibility. So. Yeah, it's just the nature right now, and as we sit here, again, I'll tell everyone, because I said it on the last show, there's no good news coming out of the portal for a while. It's all going to be either shrug news or bad news. Most is going to be shrug. Most is going to be, no offense, but Suarez, Flagg, Ty Coleman. They didn't do anything this year anyway. Occasionally it'll be an Edwin Joseph type. You just hope, and when you said Deuce Robinson, you weren't comparing him to Edwin Joseph. You're just saying that would be the one that would be a gut punch.
Yeah, I just feel like we do get in this sort of mode, I feel like where a kid leaves, it's always like, well, we see the worst in them when they leave. When they arrive out of the transfer portal, we see the highest of their highs of their ceiling could possibly be. Right. But when they arrive, when they leave, it's like, well, did we really need him? He was a net negative. It's like, I get it. He jumped off sides. He yelled at the coach. That hurt a lot of people's feelings, that he showed his coach up on national television. I personally don't care about that. But that maybe shows my character. But no, man, Edwin Joseph is a good football player. You could use Edwin Joseph. I would not want to lose Edwin Joseph. I'm not saying that someone should lose their job for allowing Edwin Joseph to not feel happy here anymore. But I think that's a player I would like to have part of my defense if I'm trying to get better.
But also, we don't know the inner workings. He's a competent Division I football player. He can play. I don't know if he's an NFL player. I don't know if he's a potential star, but he can play. He proved that. Tony White played him. He even played him that drive after he yelled at Norvell.
He started every game after that Stanford game, with the exception of North Carolina State, and he still played in over 50 snaps in that one.
Yeah,
and
he was a big part of the defense.
Yes.
But again, you could run out the game of like, okay, let's say Edwin Joseph is asking for twice as much money as he's currently making.
Yeah.
Well, this is where those decisions come into play. It's like, Edwin, we can't do it, man. We can find somebody that's a reasonable facsimile of you for this amount of money. But we can't go above and beyond for you. We can't give you this extra money because we've got to go spend it on this position, and that position. So you can take this money and be happy with it, or you can go see what else is out there. But we can't spend this amount of money on you because we've got it set aside for other positions. We appreciate you. We want you to come back. But if somebody's willing to give you more, then they're willing to give you more. You're not going to get in a bidding war over Edwin Joseph. But you would like to keep him. Both of those things can be true, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're kicking him to the curb. What'd you need him for anyway? He sucked. But at the same time, you have to look at the totality of the program. And if you spend too much money on the likes of Edwin Josephs, who are solid football players, then maybe you don't get the stars that you need because all your money's tied up into solid. So you could go get another solid Edwin Joseph, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong and he's the next Jalen Ramsey. But you can go get another Edwin Joseph. You've got to make sure you go number one quarterback, but then figure out what Deuce is doing. Get you a badass wide receiver if you have to. Like there's more important positions to spend that money on. But yeah, it's not like it's not a blow that he's not coming back because he was. I don't know. I feel like he had at least one more year left.
Yeah, I mean, he graded above. He was like 68 on PFF, and that's a good number.
Yeah, that's a good grade. Like it's not as big as like if Earl Little left,
right?
But it's similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar. Like, again, Earl Little wouldn't be crushing necessarily, but that would be a bummer.
Yes.
Jabril Rawls, to me, that's more of a crushing one. Because I think Jabril Rawls has a chance to be like the best corner in the conference next year.
Yeah.
Like, I think that guy's better than I could have ever dreamed. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose him. Edwin Joseph, you can stomach. But isn't that what this is, Aslan? It's all about how much you can stomach. Like, not how much you can stomach, but every program in the country has to stomach. But I mean, like as a program, you have to stomach some pains. You have to stomach losing guys you didn't want to lose, and that's every program in the country. Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, they're all going to lose guys that were like, golly, man, he was going to be a big part of our defense next year. I wish he'd realize that. Like, there's always going to be some stomach pains. I thought this was interesting. I heard Jeff talking about, and I don't usually listen to the Jeff Cameron show.
You don't
what
mean
am I
that?
doing? He was talking about reading a story about Kirby Smart talking about the portal and talking about it was in the AJC, and he was talking about because their defense, Georgia's defense wasn't very good this year because they played a lot of young guys. At the beginning of the year because they played a lot of young guys, but they got better. Imagine that, everyone. Georgia got better as the season went on, and they were asking Kirby about it. It's like, yeah, we played guys this year at the beginning of the season that weren't ready. We had to play them before they were ready. And he goes, I think you're going to start seeing that all around college football. You're going to have to play your young guys quicker than ever because, by and large, you're not going to go be able to get the great players in the portal. So you're going to have to go take your lumps with your young guys. Now, it's easy for Kirby Smart to say because he recruits a bunch of NFL guys every year. But you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to go get your lumps with your 5-star freshman linebacker. Your 3-star kid that was a wrestler more than a football player, that's a little harder to take those lumps with. But they're not working with the same clay. But, yeah, man, I think that's part of, you've got to – you went and got 32 guys in the recruiting class for a reason. Like, And I do trust both these coaches if they both stay these coordinators. They will play their young guys. Tony White definitely showed that. But I think Gus would too. Like if a guy's ready, Gus is going to play him. You can't depend on the portal to save you. You've got to take some lumps early and get those guys better as the season goes on. That's just the nature. That's going to be the nature of the sport now. So we'll see how it goes. I just thought that was interesting. That was an interesting perspective from Kirby to say that you're going to see that a lot around the country. A lot of younger guys, and you saw it at Florida State this year as opposed to the year before. A lot of young guys playing, a lot of reps that maybe they wouldn't have normally, but you've got to get them experience and you've got to get them better. And then when the season's over, you figure out which one of those guys can actually play, be a star, and then go try to find a couple of dudes in the portal that are going to be stars. And the rest need to be at least solid. Be at least solid.
Imagine if you hopped in a DeLorean and you went and visited Jaylin Lucas when he was in 5th grade, and you're like, hey, man, you're going to end up playing football at Florida State, and you're going to had to gone through Bloomington, Indiana to get there. How awesome is that?
Yep.
And probably tears would come streaming down his cheeks. Like, I can't believe that. That's incredible. Has not worked out the way we thought it was when we got out of that DeLorean. But Jaylin Lucas graded out at 69.1 this past season, 89 total snaps. He graded out at 82.3 last year in the 19 he played before he got injured.
He had 89 total snaps this season?
That's what PFF says. 21 against Alabama, 10
Unbelievable.
10 against Clemson, and then everything else was 8 or less.
But you tell me, Aslan, because again, couldn't get a real answer out of Gus or Norvell. That guy played 21 snaps in the opener and was good. Had a huge, I guess it wasn't a touchdown, but like a 60-yard catch down the sideline. Had big first down runs to put the game away late. And then he's just not he goes from 21. He played 25% of his snaps in one game. That's unbelievable. So he only played double-digit snaps one more time the rest of the season.
Clemson, yeah.
And he played 10.
Correct.
It just defies belief. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like they were giving it to Croma either.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, that's another thing, too, when you think about it. Like, if, Croma might be taking up nearly 3% of your budget. So
use them.
Yeah. Yeah, or how you're going to factor in everybody else. But I don't know, maybe I don't want to say addition by subtraction because he seemed like a good kid. I don't think he was any kind of distraction or a disgruntled employee, if you will. So, but I guess just maybe the less amount of people they have in that backfield, the less probability they end up just spinning a wheel or, like you said, shaking a magic 8 ball and just throwing guys out there randomly. I mean, I think Roydell has exhausted his eligibility, so Jaylin leaves. I know they're bringing Amari Thomas in, but he played football at Blountstown. Love you folks, but I just don't know. Blountstown, sorry. Yeah. I just don't know how how that translates to being able to play week 1. But hey, you got to take your lumps early, I guess. But yeah, Jaylin Lucas, you liked him a lot, Corey. And
I don't understand his usage is all. Like, I thought he was one of the better players on the field against Alabama. They had a hard time tackling him, and he got some big runs and made some big plays and then became persona non grata, just wasn't a part of the offense, essentially for the rest of the year. He averaged 6 snaps. He got 21 snaps in the biggest game of the season and then averaged 6 snaps a game the rest of the way. It just doesn't make any sense, man. So why would he transfer? I don't get it. Maybe he'll go back to Indiana. Maybe Cignetti will take him.
Yeah, he didn't leave Cignetti. Or actually kind of did leave Cignetti.
He did leave Cignetti. As soon as Cignetti got hired, he bounced.
I'm out of here, man. This guy's
crazy. He's crazy. He told me to Google him.
Peace, weirdo. Number 1 team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers. And then you mentioned the Derek Ray thing, right? We mentioned that. So, all right. I don't know, man. I don't know, Corey. Just when you think about a lot of this stuff running back, it just not what I anticipated. I don't know. Maybe this is us trying to have cooler heads prevail and just we're maybe being less emotional now. But I just think about the way you felt, Corey, being up till 4:00 in the morning, getting in bed.
Yeah.
After that Stanford game, the way you felt on that sideline in Raleigh, with those tractors going crazy as you were doing the rap after they lost to NC State, the way you felt at Clemson, the way you felt in Florida. And then it's like, but I think if you have enough time away from that, you will come around to the fact that keeping most everything intact is the best possible path forward.
Well, again, the only pushback I would have on that is if they're doing a drastic change, and again, we don't know, they won't tell us, and we don't know what the structure will be. Once they announced they were keeping Norvell, I at that point I'm like, well, I wasn't like, well, you better fire the coordinators, you better fire all the position coaches. Like, I blamed Norvell for this. I didn't blame Patrick Surtain for this. I don't even blame Papuchis for this. His linebacker play wasn't very good, but he's only been the linebacker coach for a year. Everything I blame on Norvell. So once they announced he was coming back, I don't know that there's some magical elixir where you go get some offensive coordinator and all of a sudden you're awesome again. Like, I think their thinking might be
Oklahoma
stability.
Did, Vanderbilt did.
Well, they kept the coach, though. I'm talking about, like, but
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The coach is the deal there.
Yeah.
If you're keeping Norvell, I don't think you're like, well, we got to keep Norvell, but we're going to fire his coordinators again. We're going to round 2 with all this. Like, no, man, you believed in these guys. You gave them multi-year deals. Again, their positions were their sides of the ball did improve drastically, at least numbers-wise. Again, I know the last game. I saw it. I was there. I promise. You guys weren't, but I was there. It was gross. It was gross in person. But I think at that point it's like I wouldn't be offended if Malzahn stayed. It's not like I think he was the reason they were bad this year. I think the reason they were bad this year was because of the head coach, and he's already staying. And also the quarterback play wasn't great. And I guess that takes you back to Malzahn because it's like, okay, well, he is kind of in charge of the quarterback. But I don't know that – it wasn't like he was working with John Elway. So I don't know what else he could have done. There was obviously some limitations with the quarterback, but it's the quarterback he handpicked. But he also handpicked, and he had 2 weeks to think about it, or a week and a half to think about it. Like, I feel like now, if it is Malzahn that's staying, he's got more runway to maybe get do something better in the portal. But I get it all. I just think, again, when they announced he was staying, I'm like, well, I want to know my biggest concern right now with this program is roster building.
And they've got to get this stuff in place. I know
right,
the portal
100%.
opens on January 2nd, but these players are announcing it now, man. You need to come out and say, this 100%. Is the way it's going to be. This person's going to report to this person. That Mike Norvell will report to him. He will be directly in charge of recruiting affairs and evaluation and extending of offers. And they
should have been announced a week ago.
Yes.
100%. 100%. This is not the timetable I was expecting when you're coming off another disastrous type season. But when the Norvell was kept, my biggest concern, again, I'll go back to it, is the roster building, and that doesn't have a ton to do with a DB's coach or a linebacker's coach.
Does have to do with the coordinator, though. Like, does Gus Malzahn stick around here if he knows somebody's showing up that's going to be able to overrule who he plays on the field? Not plays on the field, but brings into his rooms.
Hey, if he doesn't want to, quit, Gus.
That's true.
Just like with Norvell. Like, if Norvell's upset that somebody's going to be overseeing his program, go ahead and quit. Come on, Mike. Quit. Like, you're going to stay around because there's money coming your way. That's what the check is for. But, yeah, so I think that's still my major concern. The coaches, fine. If you could go get me a coordinator that is guaranteed to bring a great quarterback with him, I would push Gus out the door right now. And I mean physically. Like, no. Gus, stop talking. And push him. Like, no, we're bringing in this coordinator because he can bring in he's got a quarterback with him. But aside from that, I want to know who the GM is, what his experience is, and not that it would be anything that resonates because this is a job that hasn't been around for a while, a college football GM. But that's the most important thing, is the roster building. And you're right, though. Coordinators do count. Coordinators do matter in that. And hopefully he can work well with Gus, apparently, or whoever the OC might be, the unnamed OC. But, the head coach doesn't comment about whether he's going to keep the coordinators or not. So how would we know?
All right. That's a wrap for us. Plenty
we
more
did
to
it.
talk
It's probably
about.
the last show. I guess we could record something. If something breaks on Thursday early-ish, I could at least phone in or do something.
You going to go tailgate at the Mercedes-Benz Dome?
No, it's in Tampa.
Oh, it is.
It's Raymond James, man. I'm going to be on the pirate ship. I'm going to be on the pirate ship shirtless, wearing a pirate's hat and an eye patch.
All right. Well, we'll see. If there's nothing breaking, maybe I'll call my brother, see if he can get me a ticket to the game. He's good about that sort of stuff. Maybe I'll see you down there, Corey. Maybe we can just do a show live in the parking lot.
You weren't really invited, but if you want to stop by, you can.
Well, I got friends that are going to the game down there.
I know. I was just kidding. We'd love to hang out with you, Aslan. That'd be awesome. Come on down. It's going to be a great game. Are you kidding me? NFC South showdown? Bucks and Falcons?
Speaking of Spencer and soccer, I did what I ended up doing for the show on Tuesday, Corey. So everybody, Corey loves you guys more than I love y'all. Corey was like, hey, man, we should probably mention something about them winning a national title in the podcast. Yeah. And everything was done. Like, so everything's done. Like, all the show was done, produced, uploaded, scheduled. The tweets were scheduled to go. And then I'm like, yeah, they did win a national title. Shout out to them. So what I did, Corey, because I didn't get to watch a game because I forgot what I was doing that day, but I was running errands, I think. So I didn't really get to watch a game. Maybe I went out and worked out. I think I was at the gym with my buddy Mike.
A little late night workout? Okay.
Hey man, he's got 3 kids. That's the only time he can really do it is at 7 p.m. So we went and did it. We did it then. I read your story. That's what I did. It was like story time. I was a news reader.
You read my story. Oh,
I read
awesome.
your gamer.
Okay.
I read your gamer at the beginning of the show. So the first 3 minutes was just me reading your gamer to everybody. I don't know. Do you know the goalie's last name, how to pronounce it properly?
No idea. Okay. No idea. But what a heroic. That's like what she did in that first half was like Jesse Warren making that catch against Washington in the finals and whatever that was, 18.
What about Tim Howard in the World Cup in 2014 against the Belgians?
Well, I was trying to keep it more Florida State-centric, but yeah, that works too. That was the second thing that came to my mind, obviously, was the great Tim Howard save for our World Cup champion United States team.
Hey, man, that was like one of the top 10 teams in the world was Belgium, and he single-handedly kept us in the mix, man. But anyhow, yeah, so soccer did get their love, so don't feel like we
5 stars, baby. And other than Oklahoma softball, I'll make the argument that they are the most dominant team program in the country.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, I don't detect any lies.
As I clarified on headlines, I don't count rowing. I don't count fencing. I have no idea. Stanford might have won the last 21 water polo championships in a row. That doesn't count because nobody plays that sport. Most people can't even get their horse into the pool, much less play water polo like that. The Stanford kids are different, and they play all those crazy sports. So rowing, polo, gymnastics, not everybody in the country competes in those sports. Everybody plays softball. Everybody plays soccer. Florida State has won 5 national championships in 11 years and came way too close to winning a 6th back in, 2020 maybe, 2019, where they had the lead with like a couple minutes left. But just a dominant program, the best soccer program in the country, 5 championships in 11 years in a sport that's got this much parity is incredible. So shout out to the whole program. Shout out to Krikorian for building it. And shout out to Pinsky for, honestly, building off it and making it better. Yeah. Unbelievable what that guy's done, and we need to have him on the show again.
We will. I think, according to this lead from Pat Forty that he wrote before the game, Stanford plays Florida State tonight for the women's soccer NCAA championship. If the Cardinal win, it extends the most remarkable streak in college sports. 50 straight seasons with at least one national title. On the school that hangs banners every year. So I guess we snapped their streak.
No, they still got other sports, man. There's the whole winter and spring seasons. I mean, I'm sure they're going to win something.
Yeah. Maybe he's talking about the 25 calendar.
No, he's just saying like it'll extend their streak. They're going to get one eventually, whether it's women's golf or badminton or spelling bee. They're going to win something else.
Winners win. Winners win.
Yeah, they sure do.
All right. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock, warchant.com, around the clock. Join for $1 for a week and get access to The Athletic for an entire year. Join! He's Corey Malzahn. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code.